Just let me double your money real quick.
Like I said, dude, we're gonna do 500K in one trade, and then after I know you're legit and you're serious about this whole thing, then we can start doing the millions in 2 trades.
You promise?
Yes, of course. Look, there's just a lot of scammers out there, so I gotta know that you're the real deal.
Okay, fine. See?
Wow, you really are legit. That was the easiest 500K of my life.
All I've ever been is legit.
Thank you.
Now let's turn that 5 million gold into 10 million gold. I'll hold on to all of it for just a sec, but then I'll hand you over 10 million and it'll be your favorite.
Thank you. Your report has been received.
Chances are you've had a life lesson at some point through a super impactful experience that you carry with you at all times. It might have shaped how you feel about people, love, could be anything. If you played RuneScape, chances are you had one of your life lessons come from right here. Or maybe here. Perhaps here. Here, maybe. Even here. The social side of RuneScape has let players learn the hard way in the easiest way possible, giving you real-world experience without the real-world experience. Interact with enough players, and you'll have a good idea about how society functions. Terribly. Life lessons can stem from anywhere on this map, and they can present themselves in a split second or over the course of many years. But I did my best to boil it all down into 3 crucial life lessons that RuneScape teaches its players. So let's just jump into it. Lesson 1. People like money more than they like you. For example, people generally don't like advertisements. There's no shortage of criticisms when it comes to ads. The thing is, ads generate money for all parties involved. And because of how effective they are at sustaining jobs and growing companies, your general feelings about ads themselves aren't really a part of the equation when it comes to where an ad is placed. Look at these. These are Raycon everyday earbuds. And you know who co-founded Raycon? Ray J. And women love Ray J. He's probably gotten a girl or 2 before. And he's literally Ray J, so he knows what premium quality sound is. The everyday earbuds look good in my ear, and they feel good too, whether I'm hanging out with the president.
Are those Raycons? I gotta give myself a pair.
Why don't you get yourself a pair 15% off, Mr. President? Does that sound good?
I think I'll give myself a pair, Jim, thank you.
Or acting on set of a 90s sitcom.
Rocking the Raycons, huh? Those look good, Jim. Keep wearing them, I think.
I've got 8 hours of playtime with no strings attached. And by strings, I mean wires. We got none of those going on here. You wouldn't even know they're in my ear, probably. They've got the stuff you love, like noise isolation and awareness mode, but at half the price of their competitors. If you're an everyday music guy, get yourself a pair of Raycon everyday earbuds by clicking the link in the description, or go to buyraycon.com/J1MMY to get 15% off your Raycon purchase. Thank you to Raycon for sponsoring today's video. So like I was saying, people like money more than they like you. Look, I'm sorry, not all of you learned this life lesson by playing RuneScape. I had to teach you just now. We're all in this together now. This lesson has to come before any of the other ones because not only is it the most shared and often the first lesson most players learn, but it's also the root of most life lessons that come from this game. Money comes full circle. When a society becomes advanced enough, they inevitably develop a currency of some sort. But currency has the tendency to send the human brain back to primal form, whether you've got too much of it or too little of it. Money makes people foam at the mouth and make animal noises, the scary kind. And this concept comes in many forms on RuneScape. Mine was a classic trick, one that most of the internet has heard of. I was in 3rd grade. I had already found myself addicted and immersed inside this world. And I didn't even know that was possible with a video game. And with all the excitement, I decided to set my very first goal. Get a full set of mithril armor. The beautiful blue and not purple Tier 20 armor. And this was during an era where there were no handouts. You couldn't spawn in Lumbridge as a new player and someone comes and gives you 100K. That didn't happen. I mean, the age demographic was like 9 to 16. There's not a lot of 9 to 16-year-olds wanting to be generous. It's like the last thing on their mind. Nor was there many people you could go up to and ask for advice worth giving, because no one knew anything about the game back then. Going for a full set of mithril armor, being brand new at the game, and having a dumb child brain, that's a real grind. And after many days of neglecting any sort of responsibilities that a 9-year-old may have, like going to bed on time, I had finally got my full set of mithril armor, and I wore it proudly. I looked good, I think. But one day, in front of a very busy Lumbridge castle. A man wearing a full set of rune, red boots and gloves, a dragon longsword, and a cape I had never seen before, came up to me and said,
"Hey, I just got 88 crafting. Want me to put a gold trim on your armor?"
Now, when you're 9 years old, hopefully social interactions have never had malicious intent behind them. That was my case. Pretty normal, I'd say. Wasn't associated with too many sketchballs. So my knowledge of lying at the time was pretty much just denial. Did you throw that pencil? No, there it was. I lied. I didn't know there were more layers to lying. And at 9 years old, everything in the world is completely free. Net worth of $0, zero contribution to society. I simply just existed and got things handed to me, just costing my parents money. Kids suck, I sucked. Wow, look at that. Another free thing being offered to me. The only way that anything's ever been offered to me. Of course I wanted him to put the gold trim on my armor, whatever that meant. So I handed this knight in shining armor my full mithril set and let him do what those with 88 crafting do. Walk away. That's what they do to trim armor. I vividly remember just kind of watching him stroll out of the courtyard, not making any attempt to go after him, beg for my stuff back. I just kind of sat there. The reality of the situation hit me almost immediately. I understood I was not going to get my armor back. That did not take more than a second to process. It was just the fact that that could actually happen. It happened to me as a person. I got scammed. For the very first time in my life. I wouldn't form a life lesson from that situation for many years. In his mind, I was processed as not a human sitting at a computer enjoying themselves, immersed in the same world of gaming that he was, but processed as a set of mithril armor he could potentially sell for 8K. That's all I was to him. That guy liked money a whole lot more than he liked me, and that's sad for me. And similar situations obviously transcend into different MMOs. If a game has a currency in it and players are able to trade between each other, chances are you've ran into scammers multiple times, maybe even fell for one or two of them. But RuneScape just has so many outlets for this lesson that it's almost impossible to avoid being taught it. The more I played, the more genres of money criminals I discovered. Trade-based scams like doubling money, trimming armor, removing items from the trade screen. The next level from scamming is luring, using intense social engineering to convince a player to take all of their items and worth into a dangerous area, where usually a group of hoodlums are waiting to kill that player. And the more GP you have, the more people are trying to get that GP you have. People want your gold so freaking bad, dude. People at the Grand Exchange want it. The noob wants it. The fucking big guys with way bigger banks also still want it for some reason, dude. Everything's so crazy here. Everyone wants your gold. Hide your fucking gold, put it in the bank, and log out. Log out of the game. It's too stressful. Oh, man. Oh, thank God. But even when you log out, people still want your gold. You open your email, fake messages from Jagex, billing issues, a forum post you need to look at. You know what? Let's close out an email. We don't need that. Watch someone else play RuneScape. Oh my God, look at the top of the RuneScape page. It's a fake live stream pretending to be one of my favorite streamers. And there's just links to hack me there. Because everybody just wants your fucking gold. Yeah, being rich on RuneScape's stressful, I bet. And people still fall for fishes that's with a PH. Every day, dude. Just clicking on shit that looks official or enticing. I'm pretty sure I've seen a crackdown on it recently, but there were a ton of fake RuneLite clients that do a damn good job disguising themselves as the real client. And as soon as the player launches it, suddenly some dude has grabbed their IP, logged their account information, took screenshots of their bank PIN. It's essentially they are now the second owner of your account. And if you don't realize it's through your RuneLite client, even changing your password and email just won't matter, because as soon as you log in again, you're still on their client. How am I getting hacked, Jagex? What's wrong with you? Get a new security system, Jagex. This is your fault. I read good. Did you guys know that capitalization still doesn't matter for RuneScape logins? I went like a decade capitalizing letters as I typed it in to log in, and I never knew it just didn't matter once and still wouldn't. Yeah, there's some security problems probably. Oh, well, I'm going on a tangent. I need to chill out, dude. And of course, with all these money things, you can't forget about gambling. Oh boy, do I have stories about gambling. 10 years ago, as a freshman in high school, Jesus Christ, I found myself diving headfirst into the world of gambling with all the flower games going on. And that's when I experienced the other side of this lesson, the power-hungry, primal, foaming mouth side. In June 2012, I had 30 million GP to my name that I had accumulated over many years of skilling and terrible money-making methods, and then I became a gambling host. Fast forward a month later, and I had a purple party hat. A real one. The one that's worth like 100 bill or something in RuneScape 3. I had one on my head at one point, and it felt good. During my gambling host days, never once did I scam anybody. Being a gambling host was already pushing my own boundaries. I spent a lot of my allotted bad boy points on that. I didn't have many left. I couldn't afford to put more in scamming. I'd be way out of bad boy points. What if I wanted to try a beer or something? You didn't need to scam anybody as a gambling host, because you're playing with house odds, you win. But I almost scammed somebody, and that's where my life lesson came in. The very last flower game I played as a host, I was beat by the guy making the bet. It was gonna completely clean me. I was about to have 0 GP, but nobody was watching us. It was just me and him, so I logged out. And for the first time, I was about to scam somebody, and it was for a lot of gold, like hundreds of millions. But I sat there for 5 minutes just staring at the login screen. I had gone quite literally forever without ever scamming somebody or having intent to do so. And there I was, logged out. At that point, scamming somebody. I thought about what I was doing. I thought about the guy who initially trusted me to place the bet, and eventually I did what the primal cavemen couldn't. I logged back in, gave the dude his winnings, apologized, took everything else out of my bank, gave it all away, and proceeded to log out for about a year until Oldschool came out when I could start fresh. I took away a few life lessons reflecting on my entire time as a host and the people I met and the situations I encountered. Gambling is just toxic for the brain. I learned what money can make you feel, what it can make you do. Even though it wasn't in the real world, I felt this sense of being a rich guy, and I was simply not mature enough to handle being there. I was like 14, not old enough to say the least to handle the responsibility of money, or other people's money also. And I had a lot of friends back then that were way too deep to control their love for RuneScape gold, mostly the guys who were selling it for real money. And the deepest stem of this life lesson is the one that absolutely, including myself, affects people the most: trust. And unfortunately, with the barrier of the internet separating people's relationships, kind of serves as the fastest getaway car imaginable if somebody chooses to fuck someone else over. When it comes to the opposite of a life lesson, getting away with something like breaking someone's trust and not having to deal with any form of consequence is dangerous. Trust is very important to literally everybody. Like, watch a mafia movie, maybe. But here's the last story. During my gambling escapade, my bank was peaking around 8 billion GP, which in 2012, holy shit. I had a friend that I had met way before becoming a gambling host, and he also became a gambling host. We were a part of the same circle of friends. We were all in TeamSpeak calls every day, way before this Discord, whatever you kids are using nowadays. He was someone that I considered a very good friend. He had private messaged me in-game, asking if I could do a trust trade for a video he was making promoting our gambling clan, or something stupid like that, I don't know. And I had trusted him with billions in the past, so I didn't think anything of it. This 8 billion GP I spoke of came in the form of a party hat set. So really, without hesitation, I traded him and handed over every single party hat except for the blue one. After I traded it over, there was a very long pause, and I can only imagine that this was a lot more intense than what I had experienced, because he knew me personally. So he stood there holding my 5 to 6 billion RuneScape gold. I spammed trade on him, waiting for him to respond, just kind of panicking a little bit. He could sell it for, I don't know, $1,500, or he could keep a friendship. My heart continued to race, just spamming the trade button, hoping that I would see that trade screen open up and end this anxiety attack. But people like money a lot more than they like you. Lesson 2. People are smarter than you. A lot of players' translation of this is, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, which is a very important one to learn. It could not be more true, but that phrase comes from the fact that somebody is trying to outsmart you. Sometimes it happens. As much as we don't like telling ourselves this, me, you, we will simply never be the smartest people on Earth. I mean, you're watching a video on life lessons learned from a medieval clicking simulator, so, I mean, you're already opted out of this, and I'm the one making it, so there's that. Every single evil plan that's ever been drawn up relies on being smarter than the person it's up against. And if you've ever fallen for any form of scam, the evil plan worked. You've been outsmarted. You've been checkmated. You took an L. And the reason we don't ever think about it like that is because the person who outsmarted us is a piece of shit doing piece of shit things. And the thought of a piece of shit being smarter than us sucks a lot. We're the good guys. No one's smarter than us. But that's why so many big life lessons come from being scammed. We don't ever want to experience being outsmarted by a bad person ever again. In RuneScape, luring is probably the clearest example for this. And luring is just brutal. Because first they manipulate you, and then they fucking kill you to take your money. You get to watch your character fall to its death for 3 whole seconds, which is just enough time to take it all in. Your health bar completely red, your inventory and all the things that are about to disappear right before your eyes, the shitty things that the shitty lures are saying to you as you die. 3 seconds of things to bring 7 to 10 days of absolute misery. Going back to the if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is thing, which again, very valid and important lesson to know. There's always going to be something, no matter how cautious you are, that has potential to get you. Lurers and scammers know that people are cautious. Putting 10K on the ground 8 squares into the wilderness is no longer an effective way to lure people. Ooh, piece of candy methods aren't too effective in 2023. Now it's blatantly obvious we shouldn't go for that pile of cash in the wilderness. Caution really is no longer an obstacle for lurers. Their plans usually rely on you being cautious. All they're truly wanting is your participation. They've thought of a plan A, B, and C if you try to anti-scam or anti-lure. They want more than anything for you to think you can outsmart them by participating in their scam. So I guess side note, when it comes to RuneScape, if you are being approached and it's obviously a lure, simply do not participate. I promise you they only want that. That's all it takes. Just ignore them, report them, and go along with your day. I know I've gone in a lot of different directions here, so where does this fit into real life scenarios? There's something I almost forgot about. Merch clans. Back in the day, there were merch clans ran by extremely rich players, notably players like Chessy018 and Smoking Mills. They would essentially recruit as many players as possible to buy an item in bulk, to raise the demand extremely high while they hold the entire supply of that item. Let's say the item of the week is an Abyssal Whip. The rich players start out by buying as many whips as they can, and then they advertise to everybody in their clan chat to go buy Abyssal Whips. You're gonna profit so much, we're gonna hold all the Abyssal Whips, everyone's gonna make so much money, it's gonna be great. So for 5 to 7 days, everybody's buying all of these whips. Price of a whip just skyrockets over the course of the week, and then when the sweet spot is hit, the rich players will dump everything they have, maximizing their own profits. And then they tell everybody they did it. Suddenly, everybody is trying to rush to the Grand Exchange and dump the Abyssal Whips as the price plummets and they're fighting and struggling to sell off as many as they bought so that they make any sort of profit and they don't lose their entire investment. But let's say you had, I don't know, school, work, a day at the park. I don't know. You weren't online when they announced they were dumping the entire supply. Well, congratulations. Your whip's worth fucking nothing. A small amount of winners making a shit ton of money at the expense of a whole lot of average players losing money. Now, if this sounds a little familiar to you, you might recognize something like this happening pretty recently in the real world. You might have heard of them with NFTs. Now, as someone who lost about 75% of their entire bank with a singular Chessy018 merch investment, I got to sit back and watch the show as everybody else experienced this exact thing with real money. Now, did people make money with NFTs? Yeah, sure. Some people made a lot of money, but did people lose money? Just about everyone, yeah. So a year from now, when NFTs are probably going to try and make a comeback with all the crypto fanatics advertising their fucking pixelated cat collection that was randomly generated and want you to buy one before you can even see what it is, but it's super hype, so you gotta have one so you can make money because everyone's just going to sell them anyway. Just know that they think they're smarter than you, and they sure as fuck like money a whole lot more than they like you. Lesson 3. The world's mine oyster, which I, with sword, will open. The first 2 lessons alone make RuneScape sound like a machine that's constantly building criminals, but fast forward now to the old school RuneScape days, the lessons that we see emerging are more on the positive side. The world is your oyster, a saying that for nearly all my life pissed me off because it made no sense and I don't understand why people said it. It meant nothing to me. You are in a position to not only pursue opportunities that are thrown at you, but also create them. I think that's what it means. It feels like it's just a quote used by motivational speakers when they need something to lean on when they can't answer a question having to do with direction in life. But I have a better understanding of that quote because of this world right here, and all the opportunities that thing brings. The world of Gielinor became an all-in-one resource and tool. You have the game as it is, just completionist-based goals like maxing skills, getting a quest cape, doing the achievement diaries. Those are all there for you to do that let you explore new goals you never have before. I mean, this is the game that taught a lot of people about setting milestones and taking one step at a time. Players started taking trading away and playing the game as if it was single player with the Iron Man mode, which created subcategories with hardcore permadeath accounts and ultimate Iron Men, which can't use a bank at all and can only use their 28 inventory slots. And players got even crazier and created subcategories of those, like land boundaries and mechanics restrictions. RuneScape has just been serving as a playground for players' ideas. To this day, new accounts and new game modes are being introduced. I thought the ideas would have ran out years ago, but people are too creative apparently. We're all just still here doing more things. RuneScape players just can't be stopped. Even Jagex joined in the creativity. Idle made a prop hunt and whatever stupid game modes he's making all the time, but we see all this creativity happening. And if you take a step back and you look at this world map, it's kind of the same concept. The foundation of this map has always been the same. The Earth still has a crust and like lava underneath whatever the fuck is down there. I mean, this one is way bigger, way more skills to train, harder to train them, longer grinds for your goals. The world is just scary because there's so many directions you can take. Like, what do you do? Look at all that. I'm not gonna go to all those places. There's a lot of places and I don't know what to do. It's important to remind yourself that we all started here. And obviously everyone's played this game a different amount. I don't know if you even have played this game. Different ways to go, different things to accomplish, goals to shoot for. We got to prove that we have what it takes to start with bare minimum, zero knowledge, and find our way. We learned some social skills. We learned about money and how easy it is to lose it. We learned if you lose the money, you can always rebuild it back, no matter how down bad you are. We learned what we like to do and enjoy doing, what we hate to do, how to get through it, because we have to do it anyway. No matter what your goal is, with enough hard work and patience, you'll eventually get there. Just don't be a bitch. Take it at your own pace. You've got time. Chill out. You'll be fine. But anyway, the world is referred to as an oyster because apparently oysters are really hard to break open. Hence why the quote comes from a dude talking about opening one with a sword. This line was funny to people back then, apparently. Inside the oyster is a pearl, and that pearl stands for something different for everybody. Whatever you're trying to go for. I don't know. That's my best interpretation of it, dude. I don't know. It's a stupid quote. I still don't like it. I think we could come up with something better. The world is full of opportunity, and if you don't think there's opportunity there, then create your own. Someone wanted to fly, so they built a fucking plane. That's the saying now. I've decided. So go, get after it, do it, create a way to create it. Or you could just start scamming people. Or I don't know if that's, I mean, that's your opportunity. Maybe that's the lesson you're getting from RuneScape. Old school RuneScape is just proof that even in a world that's been established for so long, there's always a unique way to approach shit. I guess I think about this concept a lot of this game teaching life lessons, because that's pretty crazy to think about. I feel very lucky that I found RuneScape growing up and let it teach me the lessons it did, because I feel like some of the simulated shitty things that happened to me in this game prevented some way shittier things from happening to me in real life. I am where I am today because of this game in multiple ways, I'd say. What's up? It's me, RuneScape job guy. You know, when I was growing up and the kids around me were making fun of me for playing RuneScape, which did happen. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. Oops, the RuneScape nerds know more than you by accident. And they didn't get to learn the life lessons that we did. And honestly, I wish them and their 3D AI-generated cat wearing a hoodie NFT that no one will ever have a desire to purchase ever again. Nothing but the best. Thanks, RuneScape. Yeah, you've been a pretty good mentor over the years. Maybe that's why none of us can stop playing. We know it's bad for us. Before I head out, I just want to shout out my second channel again. I just recently posted a video playing Dark and Darker with Settled in 8 Sat. I was posting non-RuneScape videos here for a while, but I kind of decided to start doing it there. Gonna have just as much effort put into them, so go check it out. It's a lot of fun. I'm always gonna make those videos in a way where you don't need to understand the game to enjoy them, so go watch that. It'd mean a lot to me. But that's all I've got. See you soon.
Yeah, I'm dope, right?
Yeah.
Wow, you look dope.
You know you can take the mask off at dinner, right?
How are you gonna eat with that on?
When they get you to the table, you don't have to keep the mask on.
What's your strength potion you got, Jim?
I think it's an invisibility potion.
Oh, okay.
I just. Oh God! What the fuck? Oh my God!
You died to wall spikes, Jim.
What?
Fucking died to the agility pyramid. How do you feel?